disobedient. So it hit home for me when I heard him say that, because I am a Christian and I do love the Lord. So it definitely hit home for me. But
Yeah.
so when you think about that, there are some reasons why we shouldn't eat meat. There are a
Yes.
lot of reasons. I wanted to touch on some of them that you mentioned, right? And I'm going to go a little bit in a different route too, because of what I've been looking at lately and seeing out there. So, of course, like you mentioned, there could
Mhm.
be, additives and preservatives and hormones and antibiotics and chemicals, right? Nitrates and caseins and things like that, right?
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
are in the meat, that they are putting in the meat. But the other part of that is, can we trust the meat now because they're growing meat in a lab? They're looking at feces to produce meat now, right?
Mhm.
They're taking meat and making it with like these printers, right? They're taking by particles, right, of meat, and taking these large, what looks like printers, and making meat.
Right.
So we're not really getting anything that has any real nutrients in it if we're eating that type of meat. And are they telling us that the meat that we're getting from the store, are those meats that were made in the lab,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
are they actual meats that were grown on a farm, even if it does
Mhm.
have all the other stuff in it, right?
Right. Right.
So you just don't know what you're getting
That's
anymore,
right.
which is more
I
of a
think
concern.
I think we have. I mean, it's true, but I think that goes for everything now. I don't.
Yep.
It goes for everything.
Yep.
What are we eating? I mean, from water, right, to
Right.
milk, to meat, to vegetables, to everything. Everything is now questionable.
Yep.
I think that's the society we live in. I am grateful that you know, to let me say to an extent that we do have a system here in this country that does kind of force people to be a little bit more honest than in other places. But again, I think the
Mhm.
the market is so big out there that it's just not. I don't
It's
think it could be regulated enough to find everything that they may or may not be, and people just not are not honest. Taking
right.
that
Yeah.
off
And
the
I
table,
was gonna
um,
say, I, I
yeah,
was
I
gonna
mean,
say,
not
oh,
dealing with that. Right, exactly. Not dealing with that though. I think me, I think it's a decision. And I think a lot of people are
Mhm.
finding that meat is not the easiest thing for their body.
Right.
I know personally, meat has changed in my home for a number of years because we just found we still eat meat, but beef definitely has gone way down in our consumption.
Absolutely.
We do not eat beef. I love a good piece of steak. Let me not even try to say I don't.
Me
But
too.
that is like one a month, one every 2 months or something like that. It's definitely not something we do often. I've replaced that with more poultry type of things, and more recently, the you know I'll just say, some of my family members had to go to a more vegan diet because of their health.
Right.
So I think, and let me say this: the doctor didn't say that it was necessary or required for their health, but they said it doesn't hurt to, get your gut in health and kind of give your body almost like a detox. And Tracy and
Mhm.
Shima, y'all talk about that all the time. Is like kind of give your body a break because meats are harder to digest, and with your stomach and your intense intestines and all those organs working all the time and all of these um, heavier proteins to digest those, giving your body a rest and going through a detox, you could actually see,
Yeah.
smell, and see immediately see benefits of it. So for that reason, I've seen, like I said, a few family members that had to do that,
yeah.
and because of that, I've learned how to myself make more vegan meals, which is, not the easiest thing to do, but I'm determined to find healthy, good tasting alternatives for,
Okay.
my family. So I've been as a matter of fact, tonight I made some um, I tried air fried egg rolls. It's not really egg rolls. It was more of a spring roll with
Hmm.
cabbage and onions and all that kind of stuff in the egg roll, and I air fried them. and it turned out pretty good. So different things like that, I think, is something, and I use plant-based egg rolls. So
Yeah.
again, trying to find alternatives to make things work.
Yeah, and I wanted to just look at this comment from Feliza. It says, I
Mhm.
also learned that we were indoctrinated through the food pyramid that was designed to push the sales of meat and grains and milk. And that is so true, right?
Very
What
true.
what we learned, and that was started early. It started early on in school. We were shown this food pyramid in school, and then that's what we were taught to eat. And then I want to even mention, just being culturally being African American, right? And having to eat what we could back in the days of slavery, right? We adopted some of those ways because we were eating things that were given to us that we had to make good of in order for us to get food, right, to sustain our families at the time. So
Right.
we kind of adopted some of those ways along the way, and it stuck with us. Right. And
Hmm.
I just wanted to see what else she said here. It helps that there are more delicious vegan and
Right.
plant-based
Oh,
options.
for
Yep.
sure.
So yeah, so I wanted to challenge something because that's what I like to do. So I wanted to challenge something that you did say, Dr. Melissa, right, in terms of the
Mm.
standards, right, in this country. I don't think that our standards are as good as other countries. I'm going to say that because you do see that other countries, particularly in Europe, where they don't allow a lot of the things that we have in our food that we know are not good for us, are not allowed in other countries. So I did want to put that out there too, because
Right.
standards are totally different, right? So when they are packaging meats, and I don't know if they're necessarily telling us, what it is. And I do know that lab grown chicken in particular was actually approved by the FDA to sell in restaurants. I don't think it's made it to the grocery stores
Mhm.
yet, but it is allowed to be sold in restaurants. So, and we won't know if that's lab grown chicken or if it's chicken from a farm, unless you do have places where you can go where
Right.
they
They're
tell
not
you
going to
that
disclose it.
they have, not that part. I'm saying there are places that tell you if they have farm fresh meat, if they get their meat from farms, they do usually advertise what farms
Mhm.
they get them from and that they actually do that. So you might want to look for those places when you're going out to eat if you have them in your area. So I did want to mention that part. Hello, mommy. So,
I did want to as my computer and my system is going crazy and delayed. I know you're probably just catching up to what I'm saying right now. My what Feliza was saying that I said to her is I have a
Mhm,
friend who is now vegan.
mhm,
Um and she said something so very plain to me that I probably would have never thought about. But we all the meats that we eat, they're cooked with something, seasoning, oils, whatever. If you cook them with nothing, just flame them. No seasoning, no salt, no additives, no syrups, no dips,
marinating.
whatever, no basting, none of it. It has no taste.
Mhm,
It just tastes like meat.
mhm.
Everything that we love so much, because I am a rib eye eater. Y'all know me. Tastes so good, but it tastes good because it's salted and it's peppered and then buttered and garlic and yeah. So It helped me to eat less meat because of that concept. Have I joined the never eating meat again crew? Not yet. I'm leaning towards that way. I haven't joined.
Absolutely. I had a friend say to me who has now gone completely plant-based, but she was talking about giving yourself grace and listening to your body. And when your body tells you, especially if you are being challenged and going back
Hmm.
and forth and saying, I know I should, I know I shouldn't, I know I should, I know I shouldn't. She
Yeah.
said, listen to your body because your body's going to tell you when enough is enough. And once it does,
Absolutely.
then you'll be able to release that. What I have found is because I told you my
Really
problem is
stop.
chicken. What I have found is that chicken is starting to produce a lot of mucus, right? And I'm starting to, like, after I eat chicken, it's like I have to blow my nose or it has to come out of my throat. So it's like, okay, my body's telling me now enough is enough, right? So when like Shima said, when she just explained about the seasoning, as my taste buds start to change, right? And as I don't cook it at home for myself though. That's the crazy part. It's just when I go out, right? But as I start to release the taste of it and maybe flavor other things in that manner, then I'll be able to release the
Yes.
chicken. So
And I think that's the thing. I think the for and it wasn't it's not been the first time where for health reasons we've gone meatless and also back in the day sugar, sugar free on a lot of different things.
mhm,
But I think the key in really adapting a good vegan or plant based diet is making it taste good. I think
mhm,
that's the key, is learning how to season foods using herbs and spices, natural herbs and spices, and really bringing the flavor to so many different dishes. I think that's how more and more people are gonna enjoy, and I think that's what's happening. I think
yeah,
the option to be meatless is much, I'm not gonna say easy, but it's easier
mhm,
than it has been. I remember of let me see, I would say a good at least 15 years ago I tried to do stuff with the kids, and it was hard. No, if I found things that
Yeah.
did work, it was very expensive. And even in trying to make a meal and make the meal taste good, what options did you have? So I think now there are a lot more the availability of different types of food to really try out to make it taste really good. But
yeah,
I think you mentioned also, mentioned the mucus, um, bacon, which I love, and pork. They also do the same thing where they increase the mucus in your body,
mhm.
and that's another reason why people put down even the white meat. They call it the new white meat.
Yeah, exactly.
Down.
We're we're going to take a quick commercial break, everyone, but I wanted to come back and talk about what Dr. Melissa was just mentioning and those meatless options, right? And what ones are good and which ones are not, right? Because all meatless options are not good. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Oh,
Right, and we are back. We are back.
Where she went?
She is fixing her technology there,
there
but
you go.
we're going to get back into this because I just wanted to talk about some of the meatless options that are out there, and to be careful, right, when it comes to plant-based options that you see that are not really healthy. So if you are not eating meat or deciding to lessen your meat consumption because you want to live healthier, you have to pay attention to those vegan options too, because they're not necessarily healthy for you as well. So when it comes to, and I've been guilty of this, because you can flavor those items the same way you flavor your own meat, but when it comes to like things like the Impossibles, the Beyonds, and those plant-based, I'm putting up my quotes, right? Those plant-based meat options, they're not healthy for you. I will tell you this, and all you have to
all
do
of
is,
them, all of them are bad for you.
yes, ma'am.
No, I'm asking the question because I
Yeah.
know that's been an option that I've used to do a couple of hack, I guess, recipe hacks. So you don't
Mhm,
use the meat. I'll use the plant based in order,
mhm,
to accommodate those that were coming for dinner or something like that,
mhm.
that weren't eating meat. So none of them are good. So you can't, you shouldn't use them.
No, I mean, rule of thumb really is to pay attention to the ingredients. If the ingredients aren't simple, it's not good for you. That's what I always tell people. If you don't know what the ingredients are, if you don't understand the ingredients, or you look it up, you Google it, and you see like, oh, this doesn't make sense. And if the name is too long of the ingredient, more than likely it's probably some chemical, some
Mhm.
GMO, something that is not good for you. So those options are really not healthy. And listen, I've eaten them. I've been guilty of eating them. So I'm necessarily knocking it, but I want people to think about, if you're looking to make healthy choices, those are not healthy choices, right? And the majority of things that you would find in a package, right, are not healthy unless the ingredients are really simple. If the ingredients are simple and you know exactly what they are, then it's a healthy option for you in a package. Otherwise, no. Yeah.
Interesting.
And Felisa says walnuts for ground meat and oyster mushrooms for chicken. Absolutely, both very, very good. I tested the oyster mushrooms and I fried them like fried chicken. They were absolutely delicious, and you can even pull it apart, and it almost looks like, you're pulling apart chicken. But so good. Oyster mushrooms are a great substitute for, chicken, right? And you can I've even seen where you can wrap it in rice paper. If you get a good healthy rice paper and you wrap it in rice paper and you season the top of the rice paper and wrap the oyster mushroom in there, oh, absolutely delicious. So those are both really good options. Walnuts too, if you ground them good enough, they can take on the consistency and make you feel like you're eating meat. Oh, and she says jackfruit too, and she's giving us some good options here.
I've heard a lot about jackfruit being a good substitute for meat. Yes.
Yeah. I haven't been able to cook the jackfruit to my liking yet. I have to figure that part out, but I
I've
haven't
only tried once, and it wasn't at one time, and I have not tried it since.
Yeah.
I've heard good things. I've not tasted good things.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
I'll learn more, I guess.
And listen, you can do other things for protein, right? Lentils, chickpeas, all good options. Black beans, red beans, all good options for for meats. As long as you season them the way that you want to, you will get that flavor that you want in your meal, and add it to your vegetables.
Well, what about, we talk about, like you and I talk about this one all the time. Of course, if you want to go straight vegan or vegetarian, depending on what your choice is, there's always the debate about eggs.
Well,
and how people feel about eggs.
Well, eggs aren't vegan, right? Eggs are not vegan.
They are not, and I don't want to lose. I want to be able to say this here too. I don't want to use the term vegan loosely. I like to say plant-based because vegan is so much bigger than just the food you eat. So I don't want to use that term loosely. But when you're talking about plant-based, right, doing a plant-based diet, the eggs are not included in that.
Right.
So if you are choosing to not eat meat, but you want to continue to eat eggs, then that is a protein for you, right? And then I would say err on the side of buying eggs that are, they have chickens that are responsibly raised, right? Where they don't have all the things that we listed earlier in terms of the antibiotics, the hormones, all those things. There are grass-fed chicken egg options out there for you to choose from. But again, that goes back to what Dr. Melissa was saying earlier, whether or not they are actually disclosing the right information on what you're getting. So some things you're going to have to just trust. But I would go back to, listening to your body and how your body is responding to the things that you are looking to release. Is it good for you? How does your body respond to that? Are you having too much mucus? Are you having, other signs and symptoms? Some people get headaches from eating certain foods. Like whatever that is, listen to your body. Are you feeling fatigue and bogged down? And, from the food that you eat, all of that matters. Are you feeling like you can't release, what your body should be releasing when it comes to the food that you're eating? If that's happening to you, then you should think about changing to healthier options.
And let me ask a question, because both of you have lived, and worked towards a plant-based lifestyle. Is there advantage to having what some people call meatless Mondays, or we're gonna go meatless for this month, like almost like a like just periods of it? So not to give it up, but is there an advantage to doing those things periodically? And if so, is that an alternative for some that aren't 100% ready to give everything up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say yes, right? Because less is better, right? The less you eat of something, right, that you know is not making you feel well,
Mhm.
particularly if you're having signs and symptoms of it, the less of it is definitely going to be better. The less of it also, too, is going to give your body an opportunity because you mentioned this yourself earlier. Meat is harder to digest. So the less you eat, the less amount you eat is going to give your body the opportunity to digest more of your food better as well, because now you're not holding the meat in your stomach and in your
Mhm.
intestines, right? So you're
Right.
digesting better too, which is where your body needs to release and fuel itself with nutrition through your digestive system. So
Mm.
yeah,
And
the
I
less
would say
less is
test it
better.
out for yourself, because you can tell people all day long, this is what's good for you. It's on, like you said, less is better. But see how you feel, because
Mhm.
and this is only my testament. When I don't eat meat as often as I do, because I am a 100% meat eater. When I have more veggies than that, or more grains on a day, or I just don't have any meat at all, I feel lighter. I literally feel lighter. I
Mhm.
feel like I am passing like I'm supposed to. I don't
Mhm.
feel bloated. I don't feel um overly full. Not saying you can't get overly full or overdo it if you're eating a plant-based diet. It
Mhm.
just, for someone who is a meat eater, and I decided to take not eat meat today, that
Mhm.
day I feel more energetic.
Yeah.
Sometimes, depending, I even have clearer thoughts.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you really would want to, even if no one can coerce you not to eat meat anymore, take a day or two and try it and see what
Mhm.
your thoughts are. See if your thinking is different. See if you're moving better or differently. If you're having the creaks in your knees and your elbows and stuff like that. If you see
Yeah.
less, exactly, Feliza, less inflammation in your body, even if you don't give it up, if you like less is more, you'll see less of those things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I wanted to address Nick's question too, because he
Mhm.
said, what about juicing? So juicing is a great way to help your body release toxicity, right? Because it's a good way to catatonically get nutrients into your body. The only thing you have to be careful about is juicing for prolonged periods, right? Is you're not getting protein through your juice, right?
Right.
Most fruit and vegetables don't have enough protein to help sustain unless you're doing it a lot, like you're putting in a lot of peas, or you're using beans or something that is really high in protein. So juicing is a great way to help you like fast for your body to release in order for you to start to take in more food. But
Yeah.
you definitely also need protein. You just don't have to get your protein from meat. So I wanted to address that question.
And I like, and I think that's for for me personally. I think I that's what I've tried to do. Get better. Um, periodically, obviously, reduce the intake of certain things that just aren't good for you anymore, right? Like you said, Shima and Tracy, I feel it when I'm dragging. I feel it when
Yeah.
my stomach is like turning over, or saying, okay, that didn't work out today. So I believe that's I think we need to look at different options. But I would say this: I think everybody should relook at their diets. You
Yeah.
know, I talk to a lot of people, and not a lot, but I talk to a lot of old school people. And they're still trying. Oh, I could eat anything I want, and they
Mhm.
know they really can't. Everything is not agreeable to your body, and and after you hit a certain age, then all these symptoms start creeping up even more so in regards to what are you eating, what does your body look like, and there's so many different diseases and sicknesses now attached to eating and food and nitrates and a lot of things like that. So I think overall, even if the decision isn't I'm going vegan, I think
Right.
most of us, all of us, need to really relook at our daily intake,
Mhm.
and really create something that is that at least puts more of, like you said, we learned this pyramid of meat and
Hmm.
grains and all that kind of stuff, where we need to flip that and have our daily consumption include healthier versions like vegetables and, not too much sugary fruits like berries and things like that, so that we know on a daily basis we're doing better for ourselves.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I wanted to mention something too. There is a correlation. I love when Shima talked about how you think clearer, right? When you start to eat better, right? There's a direct correlation between your brain here, your
Mm-hmm.
heart, and your gut.
And you're
You know,
good.
it's scientifically proven. So don't take my word for it. Go look it up, right?
Absolutely.
But your heart, you have a brain here in your head. Your heart has a brain. Your gut has a brain, and they're all linked together. They're all connected. So when you start to clear your body, and I'm going to say it in that way, your mind gets clearer. Your ability to think gets clearer. Feliza mentioned inflammation, right? All of that starts to be reduced in your body because there's a direct connection, right? Between you, even spiritually feel better, right?
Mm.
It may sound funny to people, but it's not. There is a direct connection between all three of those parts of your body, and your intuition comes from your gut. When you start to clear up your gut, you'll also see your spiritual being, your intuition, all of that will start to clear up because you're clearing out all the toxicity that your body has, that your mind has, that your heart has, and everything that flows up and down your body. So I wanted to mention that because she said you think clearer, but
Well,
there's
it's not
scientifically proven.
it's not by chance that,
Mm.
especially if you follow Christianity and even other religions.
Mhm.
I know Muslims do also. People fast, and the reason for fasting is to be more in touch with God.
Mhm.
Because
Absolutely.
because of you're not spending your day eating, you're committing your body to the Lord. And
Mhm.
to that point, both Tracy and Shima, you're probably thinking better because you don't got all the nonsense in your body.
Right.
So now the ability to really your spirit to connect with
Mhm.
who you believe in is now a lot more pure. I always say,
Absolutely.
fasting is a purity
Mhm.
that allows this exchange to happen in a better way. It's not, let me not say it's required, because some people will tell you that fasting, they'll tell you different things about fasting.
Mhm.
But overall, the purpose of it is to become one with.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this too. Things that I used to think were hokey in the past until I really learned about all of this, right? So your mind has the ability to heal your body. And it's all about your thought process and how you think and what you will, right? However, if it's bogged down because your gut is bogged down and then your mind can't think clearer, then you can't change your mindset and you can't will your body to heal.
Mhm.
So there's a connection there that we need to start being aware of when it comes to taking care of ourselves. So I wanted to mention that too. And again, I'm going to say this from the perspective of I didn't necessarily believe in that either until I started researching these things, right? So it sounds hokey, but it's not, right? This intricate system that God built for us, right? It has the ability to heal. It is one of the most intricate systems. It can't be duplicated, right? It is a wonder of the world. They are still examining the human body and how it operates, and they still don't know everything about the body. Why? Because it's a miracle and it's something that God has given us. So when you start to honor that, right, and you start to utilize it the way that it was meant to be used, there's a lot that you can do for your body just by changing your habits, right, and changing your level of thinking, and you will be able to heal if you want to live a healthier lifestyle.
One of the things I also wanted to mention, and to your point, sometimes people think, you're being hokey or you're being super spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
But if you follow, um, if you follow sports and you follow the successful sport, people that
Mm-hmm.
their bodies don't break down as much, you will find that almost all of them are on a very strict diet
Mm-hmm.
almost all the time.
Mm-hmm.
One in particular that I'll mention, everybody knows who it is, Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady, who is by far, everybody would agree, one of the best players of football ever to exist. You
Mm-hmm.
saw he went into his 40s, not okay. He went into his 40s and got another Super
Prime.
Bowl.
Yeah.
um,
Prime.
and still was on the top of the pinnacle. But until he left, he was the one.
Yeah.
He
But look
can
at
tell
his
you that
diet.
it was his diet. His
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, they're trying to promote him and his trainer and they are doing it successfully. Obviously, it's a higher end type of thing, but they're successfully pushing out their regimen because
Yeah.
they realize. He said, "I don't give myself any credit. I
Mhm.
follow my trainer. My trainer sized me up in terms of what I should eat, drink." And how I should work out in order for my body to perform at its peak,
Mm-hmm.
at peak performance, for me to be successful in the game I play.
Yeah.
So, this is not hokey. This is so many people who are
And sleep.
whose body is our body is all should always be our temple. But
Mhm.
people in sports, their body is their money maker,
Mhm.
literally. And when they take care of their body is able to do what they needed to do in order to
Yeah.
perform at its peak. At its peak.
What a great example. I'm so glad that you mentioned that too, because and Feliza just said it here too, right? It's the diet, it's the exercise, and it's sleep, right? But that the correlation between what you eat and movement, right? And I'm saying movement because everybody can't exercise like Tom Brady,
Mm-hmm.
but when you start to move your body a lot more, you'll
Yeah.
start to see how your immunity starts to increase, right? That inflammation that we talked about earlier starts to decrease, and how your body starts to transform in ways that you would not even imagine if you start to get movement. And I'm not just talking about going to a gym and exercising. That is not the way for everybody to do it. But if you
Mhm.
started walking, right, every day. I live in a neighborhood where every evening the husbands and wives, and sometimes they have their strollers with them too, but they are out walking.
Yeah.
She's Shima's friends and neighbors. She comes and
Those
she
are my
yells
neighbors.
at neighbors when she's here. But my neighbors are always
They
outside
are
walking,
every
right?
day.
And you see that they're pretty fit, right? They're pretty fit, but they're outside every day walking. And I can't say whether or not they go to a gym. I don't think that they do though, but they're
Mhm.
outside walking every day. And I know my mother was on here earlier, and she can attest to this too, because when she decided that she wanted to lose weight, she started walking, and she was walking every day, and
Mm-hmm.
her body started to transform. So it's about movement. It's about getting some type of movement every day intentionally, not just, I came home and I walked from my front door, up my steps to go get myself ready for bed. No, it is,
Real movement.
intentionally doing some real movement, and it could
But
be,
it's culture. If you watch, again,
yeah,
we don't have to say that. If you see like Asian cultures, they are
mhm,
walkers. That's
yeah,
what that it's not by chance a lot of them are living to 90 and 100 into
That's
yeah,
the
right. That's
yeah,
Indian cultures
mhm,
are very they you see them my daughter lives in a neighborhood with a large population of Indian
yeah, and
uh,
that's
uh, um,
that's
um,
here culturally too. That's
yeah, Indian
mhm,
families, and I tell you, come 5, 6 o'clock, they are out there walking
yes, they are.
and
mhm,
older, and
yep,
they're living into their 80s and 90s. So it again, I think there's a couple of things takeaways from tonight is that you know it's important that we do cherish our bodies. You know, it's the eating of whatever is causing your body not to perform at its peak.
yeah,
And when you see that, make adjustments. But
Mhm.
any way we can keep our bodies, between movement and eating and sleeping,
yeah,
honor your body so that it can give you the life that you're looking to have. I want to live into my 80s, and I have to I have to do all of that in order
yeah,
to um health
Absolutely.
in a healthy way live into my 80s. That's
yeah.
the only thing that's going to work.
And I want to give you my five basics, and you just mentioned the three that Feliza said earlier, right? It's about what you consume, and I'm saying what you consume because what you consume is your diet,
Hmm.
right? But it's also some of the products that you use, some of the things that you're watching on TV, books that you read. So it's about consumption. That's number one. Number two is exercise. Number three is sleep. We mentioned all of
Hmm.
those. The number four, big one, right? Water consumption, making
What?
sure that you're drinking water. And number five that I always put out there is have some joy, some enjoyment, some fun, some fulfillment outside of what you do for work, career, family, right? Some type of fulfillment and joy that you're bringing to your life that's going to allow you to think positive, move differently, live better, be happier, enjoy the sunshine, whatever that is for you. So those are the 5 basics that you could do, that you can incorporate into your daily life, that is going to allow you to live a healthy lifestyle.
Yes. Yes.
Yay. So everyone out there, we love you. We love you. We thank you for all of your comments. It sounds like, and Feliza, I saw that you were going to send that jackfruit recipe. Please send that over to us at Fem Talk as well. I'm trying to figure that thing out. So please send that over. I want to see that. But we love you all out there. Thank you so much for being here. And we will see you all next week right here on Fem Talk, everybody.